made a couple of Dragon Ball themed animations, but now I'm going to attempt to animate the aura waves in 1 second, 10 seconds, 1 minute, 10 minutes, 1 hour, and 10 hours. Before I begin the challenge, I'll open up my Flip-a-Clip and set up my animation environment. For anyone who's curious about what app I use to make my animations, it's Flip-a-Clip. Alright, it's time to lock in for the 1 second attempt. Just like I always say, it's impossible to animate anything in 1 second except your Lealmation. Well, this is the result of the 1 second attempt. At least it looks like a Dragon Ball aura wave. 10 seconds seems like enough time to draw a Stickman. Now let's see if I can pull off the animation under that time. I'll animate him charging up. I just need at least 2 frames and we can call it an animation. Alright, my time's up. What do you guys think though? It kinda looks like he's charging up, right? Just like I had previously done, for this 1 minute challenge, I'll animate the Stickman charging up, or at least I'll try. And if I'm left with enough time, maybe I'll add the aura effect. Alright, let's get straight into animating. 1 minute is basically 60 seconds, so I should be able to get in a few frames to make an animation in such a short time. I'll start with a simple background, then animate the Stickman on a different layer. Just like I had animated in the 10-second challenge, I'll animate him charging up, and if I'm left with enough time, the aura waves can come in. After I finished the base animation, I used the few remaining seconds of my time to animate the background to give the shaky effect while he's charging up. With this, my time was over. Let me know in the comments what you think about the 1 minute attempt. Could you pull this off? Personally, I'm rating it a solid 4 out of 10. It's barely even an animation. A simple Dragon Ball charge-up aura animation needs 2 things. One is the character charging up, and the second is the aura waves bursting out. So far, I haven't had enough time to animate both, but now I have 10 minutes. Let's see if I'll pull it off. I jumped right into the 10 minutes animation feeling pretty confident about myself. I'm not about to take up my time without animating something decent. As always, I started off with the backgrounds first, then the character animation comes next. Just like in the previous ones, I'm animating the Stickman charging up. After spending about 2 minutes for a simple charge-up animation, I went back to it heads to the stick figure. I checked my time and I still had about 7 minutes left. Seems I'll be able to pull off the animation after all. Before I begin the aura waves animation, I had to move the Stickman slightly each frame with the lasso tool to give a shaky effect. I also did this to the background to show the intensity of the charge-up. It took me about a minute and I was done. It's finally time for the aura wave animation, and I had 6 minutes before my time was up. I think that's enough time. First, I created a new layer above the Stickman and began drawing the aura waves. Then with a soft eraser, I cleaned off the center. This brought the drawing to life. I repeated the process for each frame until I was done. At this point, the aura wave animation was almost complete. All I needed to do now was to add some wind lines flowing across the aura wave. To do this, I had to create a separate layer and animate the lines on it. I checked my time and saw that I had only 1 minute left. I wasn't panicking because I had almost finished the animation. With the little time I had left, I turned on the glow option for the layer with the aura waves and duplicated the charge-up frames to create a loop. Even after all I had done, I still felt like the animation needed something, so at the last few seconds I animated a simple wave line blast out as he charges up. With this, my time was over and this was the final result. Finally, I have a realistic time. The 1 hour time frame gives me enough room to come up with something better than the 10 minutes attempt. I had a couple of ideas to make the animation good, but because the previous time wasn't enough, I couldn't execute them. But now, we've got enough time to bring back those little touches, so the 1 hour attempt will follow a similar pattern to the 10 minutes one, except this time, I add those touches. I started off with the backgrounds just like in the previous ones. Since I had enough time to animate, I spent a reasonable amount of it drawing the backgrounds. After drawing the plain backgrounds, I created a separate layer for shading to give depth to the background. This took about 4 minutes to finish up. Once I was done with the background, I immediately got to animating the Stickman charging up. It was kinda similar to the old one. The only difference was that I created a chance for impact frames on this one. After animating the moves, I added heads to the Stickman. For some reason, I thought I could add clothes to the animation with just around 40 minutes left. I quickly realized how time-consuming it would be, so I decided to leave out the idea. If for any reason I added the clothes, I probably wouldn't finish the animation. Anyways, back to the character animation. Just like in the previous one, I wanted to create the ground shaking effect, so I had to move him as well as the background slightly in each frame. Finally, I got to the main part of the animation, the aura waves. Animating the aura wave here is similar to the previous one. First I animate the base, then cleaned off the center with a soft eraser before adding whoosh lines. I was almost done with the animation at this point, but for some reason the background wasn't looking good enough, so I cleared the whole layer and began reanimating. After taking out another 10 minutes to redo the background, I was finally somewhat satisfied with the result. Immediately after, I went on to animate the background shaking to intensify the charge up. At this point, I had around 10 minutes left, so I had to lock in and finish up with the impact frames. After animating the impact frames, my time was up and I was done animating. Let me know your thoughts on this one. Is it good enough for a 1 hour animation? "10 hours is enough time to throw in those ideas I left out previously. I'll open up Flip a Clip and get to animating. As usual, I started with the backgrounds, and since this animation was going to be in different cuts, I'd need to draw different backgrounds. For anyone wondering what app I use to make animations like this, it's Flip a Clip. You can learn to do stuff like this on your phone or on your tablet. Check out the link in the description for a tutorial playlist and a recommendation of the cheap gadgets to use for animating. Now back to the video. After drawing the backgrounds, I went straight to the stick figure animation. This time, instead of animating him straight up charging, I'll animate a short build-up right before he bursts out the aura waves. For the next cut, I had to draw another background. In this cut, the camera angle is below the mountain. It took me some time, but I eventually got the right camera angle for the cut. And now, for the last cut, I'll finally animate the charge up, and as usual, I'll animate the base Stickman first, the heads come later. After I was done animating the 3 cuts, I went back to add impact frames at the scene where the camera angle is below the mountain. Once I was done with the impact frames, I animated the shaky effect to the charge up and decided to throw in some clouds to give the background a brighter look. Finally, it was time to add clothes. I've been wanting to do this all through the challenge, but the 10-hour time frame gave me the most opportunity. Since this took a while, I'll allow you guys to enjoy the short time lapse of the clothes animation. Immediately after animating the clothes, I got busy with the aura waves. Now, to be fair, at this point I was already tired because I had been animating for a long time, so I somewhat rushed the waves animation, but I think it still turned out quite decent. I spent some time animating the wind lines running across the wave, then after I got the idea to animate floating rocks. Finally, I animated the belt on his waist swinging around during the charge up. With this, I was done with the animation. I added some finishing touches and cleaned up a couple of mistakes before exporting and editing the animation. Now, before I show the results, be sure to drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd like to know what you guys think about the animation. That's all for this video, mates. If you enjoyed it and want to learn how to animate like this, check out the tutorial playlist and my cheap animation gadgets recommendations in the description below.